She ruined her life with her mouth. But what if that mouth was her only weapon in a world that never listened? The girl who mocked everyone just met the one person who didn't laugh at her jab. And what he did to her, no one saw it coming, but was it punishment or protection? Please subscribe to this channel to find out and support us, it's free. Thank you. Many years ago, in the village of Okutaala, lived a girl named Chidinma, a beautiful girl with a razor-sharp tongue. She had no secrets because she said everything she saw, everything she thought, and everything she suspected. If your cloth tore at the back, she would shout it at the market. If your baby looked like your neighbor's brother, she would say it with boldness. Her parents warned her. The elders warned her. Even her friends began to avoid her. I only speak the truth, she would say, twisting her lips proudly. Let the liars deal with it, I don't fear anyone. Chidinma had no filter. If she saw something, she said it. If she felt something, she shouted it. If a thought crossed her mind, it came out of her mouth immediately before she even blinked. She believed she was just being honest. Another phrase she liked using was, "I'm just telling the truth." If it pains you, go and hug the transformer. The village catechist once tried to advise her after she publicly told the pastor's wife that her clothes always looked too rough. That has a pastor wife, why can't she get an iron and look neater? But Chidinma would only shrug and say, "Do you want me to lie? I love telling the truth, you know." She once called her friend Ifyananya's new rapper Ben Down Select. She told her cousin Yachechi, in front of guests, that the meat in her soup tasted like it was boiled during the dry season, and this is the rainy season. Hope you didn't steal it, so thunder don't kill anyone that eats from the meat. On an occasion she told her teacher in secondary school that his mouth smelled like rotten food and that she should get a new toothpaste and start washing twice daily. It was funny, until it wasn't. One day, a rumor began to spread in the village that Chidinma's loose mouth had destroyed someone's marriage. Apparently, she had walked past Matsui-kin's compound and, in her usual way, shouted loud enough for everyone to hear, "This your new wife is finer than the last one, oh. At least this one doesn't tie a wrapper like someone going to the farm." The first wife, who was visiting her children, overheard. And their fight starts between the two women. By evening, plates had been broken. Insults had flown, and Matsui-kin swore to never let Chidinma near his compound again. Still, she didn't stop. Her father, Papa Chidi, a retired palm wine tapper, once sat her down after she insulted the village chief's daughter for having a big head, that her parents didn't have a big head, that where did she see hers? "My daughter, your tongue will burn bridges your feet will not be able to rebuild. Mind your mouth. All these things you're saying are too much for your mouth. That is not everything you see, you must say." Chidinma rolled her eyes and said, "Papa, they are just intimidated because I say things they don't want to hear. I'm a bearer of truth, you know." But everything changed the day she met Dyke. He was a newcomer to the village, a tall, quiet man who had returned from the city to take care of his late uncle's lands. He wore simple clothes, rarely spoke, and always carried a worn-out bag. People respected him because he minded his business and helped the elderly without asking for a reward. One afternoon, at the village square during the Ofala festival, Chidinma spotted Dyke standing alone by the palm wine stand and whispered to her friends, not knowing he was listening, "That one looks like someone who just came back from prison. How sure are we that he is not an ex-convict? All these people coming from the city always have something under their sleeves. I don't trust them." Dyke turned, looked straight at her, and smiled gently. The girls gasped, because they didn't believe he could hear what Chidinma said from such a distance. Over the following days, Chidinma observed him in secret. She noted the way he helped the old women carry firewood, how he knelt beside children to tie their sandals, how he listened, really listened, when people spoke of their troubles. She saw him oil his battered phone, as though unwilling to cast away even a tool that bore his fingerprints. Something about his silent strength gnawed at her. It was the counterpoint to her own brashness. One evening, after dinner, she found him alone at the well, drawing water. She leaned against the stone lip and murmured, "What brings you to the village? You don't seem afraid of anything." Dyke looked up, and in the soft glow of the lanterns, he said, "Fear is only dangerous when it's the only thing you feel." Chidinma felt a tremor pass through her, an unexpected seed of respect, quickly dismissed, but impossible to uproot entirely, but she wouldn't rest until she found something really funny and exposing about Dyke. The day of the village council meeting arrived, and the air buzzed with talk of a new communal well. As elders presented plans, Dyke listened quietly, leaning on the wooden rail. Then Chidinma rose, drumming her fingers on the table, and blasted the room with her customary ridicule when Dyke was suggested to be the treasurer. Why give Dyke the money? He's lived in the city so long, we don't know why he even comes back to the village. Let's not let poor people like him that we don't know much yet, handle our money. We don't want to count losses later, you know. Gasps echoed around the hut, the entire square went silent. But Dyke rose, tall, calm, and grave. He looked at Chidinma as though peering behind the mask she wore so proudly. His voice rippled through the stunned council, "Words are power, Chidinma. You wield them carelessly. And you're not ready to change. I think it is time to teach you the lesson you need now." He raised his hand, palm upward, and Chidinma felt a shock travel up her arm. In that heartbeat, her mouth seized, it twisted, tightened, locked. She opened her lips to speak, but no sound emerged. She pounded on the table, her eyes wild, but only silence answered. As the council members stared in horror, Dyke spoke once more, "You will taste the bitterness of speech until you learn its weight." Then, without another word, he sat. Chidinma's world exploded into chaos. She fled the hut, tripping over her own feet, her tongue aching with each attempt to scream. Outside, villagers watched in stunned pity. Papa Chidi rushed to her side, tears in his eyes, but could only cradle her in silence. For Chidinma, the shock was double-edged. First, the pain in her mouth, then, the realization that her greatest weapon had been stripped away. As the sun set, painting the village in blood-red light, she understood that Dyke's curse was not cruelty, it was a harsh lesson she had long deserved. For 3 days and 3 nights, Chidinma wandered the village in wordless agony. Every attempt to speak brought stabbing pain. Even whispering her own name felt like swallowing shards of glass. At dawn, she sat by the stream where she once read poetry aloud to passing birds. She watched them flutter away, unperturbed by her silence. Her friends hovered, offering water and food, but she could not form a thank you. Each unspoken word piled guilt upon guilt. Papa Chidi and Mama Ifioma wept at her bedside, the neighbors murmured prayers. Yet Dyke remained distant, a silent sentinel who never came to her door. In that enforced silence, memories surfaced like ghosts. She recalled taunting Ifyananya for her threadbare wrapper, laughing as tears fell from the pastor's wife. She remembered the bruised look in her father's eyes when she mocked his tired hands. Each recollection was a blow to her heart, far worse than Dyke's physical curse. Chidinma realized that her words had not been armor, they were chains she had used to bind others. For the first time, she didn't want her tongue back. She wanted understanding, remorse, and the chance to stitch the wounds she had inflicted. Yet as night fell on the 3rd day, she lay awake, praying not for her voice, but for the strength to earn it back. On the 4th morning, Chidinma emerged from her house and walked to the village square barefoot. Her parents followed in hushed fear, uncertain whether she would lash out or collapse. In the center, Dyke waited beside the new well foundation, his posture unchanged from the day of the curse. Chidinma knelt before him, head bowed, tears tracing silent rivulets down her cheeks. She could not ask forgiveness with words, so her bowed shoulders and trembling hands became her plea. The entire village gathered in silence, the weight of her unspoken regret filling the space between them. Dyke regarded her with a softness she had never seen. He knelt and placed a warm hand on her shoulder. Then, without fanfare, he pressed his palm gently against her throat. Chidinma's heart pounded as she felt the final knot in her tongue untangle. A tremor passed through her jaw, and at last a single word escaped in a hushed whisper, "Sorry." It was not her usual mocking tone, but raw, vulnerable truth. The village exhaled as if waking from a held breath. Dyke stood and spoke, voice low. Your silence spoke more truth than your words ever did. Use your voice wisely. He stepped back, and in that moment the crowd erupted, not in laughter, but in overwhelming relief and respect. In the weeks that followed, Chidinma's voice returned fully, but she spoke differently. At home, she helped Mama Ifeoma cook without commentary on the seasoning, simply listening to the rhythm of family life. At school, she raised her voice to defend classmates, not belittle them. When villagers sought her counsel on disputes, she offered measured advice, mindful of each word's impact. Even Papa Chidi noticed the change. My daughter, your words now build bridges. Her laughter lost its edge but gained warmth. She still loved language, its music and power, but no longer wielded it like a blade. As for Dyke, his presence in Okutala remained shrouded in quiet mystery. Some said he was a wandering spirit. Others that he studied forgotten arts. But Chidinma knew the truth. He was a mirror, reflecting her own worst self until she could see her wounds. On a bright morning under the Udala trees, she found him at the well and offered him a calabash of palm wine. Thank you, she said, voice steady and kind. Dyke smiled, the corner of his lips curving in genuine warmth. He lifted the calabash and drank, then blessed the village with a single word, settled. As he walked away, Chidinma watched him go, silently grateful for the curse that had taught her the true weight of words, and the freedom that comes when they are spoken with compassion. Let me know your thoughts about the story in the comments section. Like and share, turn on your notification bell, and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories like this. Thank you.